Special guest in Shahid Hashmi, a senior cricket journalist joining us live from Pakistan, and Amrit Mathur, former manager of the Indian cricket team, a former cricket administrator as well. He's lucky enough to be at the Lord's Cricket ground right now, enjoying the test match between England and Australia, and I've had to really pull him out and talk about India versus Pakistan. But Mr. Hashmi, I'm going to start with you. What do you think could be the reservations that Pakistan would have with Ahmedabad? I understand that there is some sort of history, of not playing in Mumbai. There has been security concerns there. But what could be the issues with Ahmedabad in your understanding?
It's all politics. They may be feeling some truculence, some hostility in Ahmedabad, but closer to the event, I think they will decide play in Ahmedabad because our foreign office, our government will be giving advice to the Pakistan Cricket Board whether to play or not play in Ahmedabad. If there are any security concerns, because ICC and BCCI will not entertain Pakistan's request of shifting the match from Ahmedabad to somewhere else unless and until there are some security concerns. If there are no security concerns, go out, play there, stick it out, and stand up and be counted. Why not play in Ahmedabad? 132K people chanting for India, double pressure on India, and a birthday of Babar Azam. How can India beat Pakistan in Ahmedabad?
Okay, that's a very positive spin to that. I hope, the decision makers in PCB can also look at it this way. But, Mr. Mathur, to you, what do you think, firstly, whose prerogative is it? Can BCCI put its foot down saying, no, we want it in Ahmedabad? Can the ICC, is the final say with the ICC? Because BCCI is, of course, the home board. And then the other thing that the anomaly that really, you can see at the moment, that they've given into that request of ensuring that Pakistan don't play their semi-final in Mumbai, so their semi-final will be played in Kolkata. But if there are similar security concerns that Pakistan has of Ahmedabad, why is that particular request then being turned down in your understanding?
I think, Nikhil, you must be clear that the World Cup is an ICC property, is their event. They decide. What India has got is only the staging rights for organizing the matches. So it's an ICC decision where to hold matches, when to schedule a match, whether it's Ahmedabad or somewhere else. Obviously, the suggestions of the BCCI do make a difference, but the decision ultimately lies with the ICC, which own the property. They own the commercial rights, they operate the games. Technically, they're responsible for the conduct. The only thing the BCCI does is to provide venues. They get a share of ticket revenue. They get some money for staging each game. So basically, it's the ICC which takes a call. And I'm sure when they decide on venues and schedules, they do take into consideration issues like security going by the past. But from a cricket perspective, from a BCCI perspective, it makes sense to play in Ahmedabad. It's the biggest game of the tournament. It's the best venue India has. So why not put it up on the biggest stage that we have in the country? So it'll be a great occasion. And as Wasim Akram and others have said, it doesn't really matter where you play. The players couldn't be bothered. It's a big game, and they would love to play on the biggest stage possible.
Well, you absolutely put it very well. Look at it from BCCI's point of view. And in fact, Mr. Hashmi also, mentioned that it is the biggest game. We already know the demand for hotels has gone up. There'll be a huge demand for tickets. It's best to have it in a stadium, the politics aside, best to have it in a stadium that can hold about 1.3 crore people. It's not just the biggest cricket stadium in the world, as the BCCI secretary pointed out a few days ago. It's the biggest sporting venue in the world at the moment. So the biggest game needs to be played at the biggest venue. But Mr. Hashmi, to you, at the moment, you sounded very positive. You think Pakistan should take this opportunity up. How do you see PCB, and will the PCB stand now change? Because, just to give our viewers a bit of a background, the earlier PCB boss in Najam Saidi was all right. He said, okay, let's have I'm just talking about the Asia Cup. He said, let's have a hybrid model. We'll be fine with that. Zaka Ashraf is expected to take over now. He's had a more hardline stand. He said that I wouldn't have even been happy with a hybrid model. Do you see if Zaka Ashraf was to take over PCB as expected, would the PCB then under him be okay to play in Ahmedabad? Would they then give in to the demands, or do you think they'll take a more hard stand on it?
I don't think he'll take a hard stance on it because he was the one who sent Pakistan cricket team across the border in 2012 without getting any revenues to play 2 T20 international and 3 ODIs. But the decision will finally rest on government of Pakistan and the Foreign Office. If you remember, Bilawal Bhutto, who's properly groomed, who's a pedigree in politics, Benazir Bhutto's son, he went to Goa and he said that we'll not come to a stage where we could stop Pakistan going to India and play in Ahmedabad. So he's very positive, and we are also very positive. Why not play at the biggest ground in the country? Why not beat India there, and then the pressure on Indian team will be double. 132K people chanting for India's win, and then beat India there. So I think the decision will rest on government. PCB will be guided by the decision from Foreign Office and the government of the time.
Okay. Mr. Mathur, let's take a look at from the other point of view, because we're talking about now ICC versus the PCB. Now, there has been precedent in the past where we've had teams pull out. West Indies and Australia infamously refused to tour Sri Lanka in the 1996 World Cup. Then you had a situation in the 2003 World Cup where, again, because of diplomatic issues, England refused to travel to Zimbabwe. There is a case in point there. Without risking any sort of sanctions against you, a team, if it feels it's not right for them because of diplomatic reasons, security reasons, can pull out. Looking at the tournament's format, because you're playing 9 games, you can afford to forfeit 1 game. What does then stop PCB from taking that route? And if PCB does take that route, how is it going to harm the ICC? Can ICC allow that to happen?
Listen, if it's decided to boycott a game and pull out, it's going to be unfortunate.
They can allow it, but
And
why give?
it will also attract some punitive action. You lose points, that's obvious. It's like forfeiting a game. Secondly, there's also massive commercial issues involved now because the way the game has evolved, how each match has so much money riding on it. So who knows, the ICC may want to impose some financial sanctions on a team which decides to boycott a game. So I think PCB will take a very considered decision about playing, not playing. And I'm sure ultimately it's the cricket matters which will decide and not other extremist factors.
Mr. Hashmi, let me take that question to you because we heard from Wasim Akram. He said, you know what, having ego is all right if you want to, but stick to a stand. Don't keep, doing flip-flop. That's what he said. I'm saying from Pakistan's point of view, let's say if there is a genuine threat, if they decide to forfeit, wouldn't ICC then be forced to change the venue? Because the one party that has most to lose would be the ICC, because in terms of broadcast rights, everything is riding on an India-Pakistan game. If Pakistan decides to forfeit 2 points and try and make up in the rest of the points, but that money loss is going to be ICC's, not PCB. Why can Pakistan then look at that angle as well in case they feel, yes, there is a security threat and ICC is not ready to change the venue?
There are multiple factors. The biggest one is revenue generation. If you don't play India, then a lot of money will be lost. And it's a cutthroat event. You can't afford to forfeit 2 points
but PCB
for
does
one
not
match.
lose that money.
There is no
ICC
guarantee
loses that money.
Yeah, ICC will lose that money, but Pakistan will lose 2 crucial points. And as I'm saying that it's a cutthroat event, you cannot guarantee beating Scotland, you cannot guarantee beating Sri Lanka or West Indies who will be qualifying for the event. So it's a cutthroat event. Last event in 2019, Pakistan lost to West Indies and could never recover. They could not qualify for the semi-finals. So don't do this, don't forfeit, just genuine threat, could shift the venue from Ahmedabad to somewhere else. We have a precedence in 2016. Dharamshala was supposed to host Pakistan-India game, and then it was switched to Kolkata on genuine threats only. So my advice, my take will be to go and play in Ahmedabad until and unless there are genuine security threats.